Greetings, everyone. Hello. Hello, everyone. I would like to bid you welcome back to campus. I'm sure that you all had a wonderful summer. I'm sure each of us has a number of obligations and activities we were engaged in. And I think that we all agree that the Gallaudet summer was very mild, not too hot. Well, as the past days or past week has been, most of the summer was nice indeed. And I would also like to give you a warm welcome back to each and every one of you. And know that we have endless possibilities for our future. With that, I would also like to welcome the class of 2018, some of whom are present with us today. A round of applause for the class of 2018. We've had a number of wonderful programs over the summer, including the Jumpstart program for our new signers, learning about ASL and deaf culture with our summer programs for our new students, orientation for incoming students and our graduate students, for our English Language Institute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm sure we all agree that it's an exciting time for all of us to return to campus. And now, I'd like to use this opportunity to officially introduce to the campus 3 new trustees joining our board. We have 3 public members. 1, Senator Sherrod Brown, Kevin Yoder from Kansas, Representative Kevin, and the Congressman from North Carolina is newest to join, G.K. Butterfield. I'd like to welcome them to our board, as well as 2 new trustees that were voted in by the Board of Trustees as a whole. The first of those is Dr. Charlene Dwyer, who hails from Wisconsin and brings a wealth of experience in the VR community and has been involved with the national organization CSAVR, the Commission on State Associations for Vocational Rehabilitation, and has a strong background in finance and investments and endowment funds. We're delighted to have Dr. Dwyer join the board. And last but not least is an exciting addition, our own alum, the Honorable Wilma Nieuwhout Druken from South Africa, who earned her bachelor's and master's degrees in social work here at Gallaudet, went back to her home country and became the first deaf person to be elected as a member of their parliament. We are delighted to have them round out an excellent Board of Trustees, and we look forward to the coming new year. You may have read in the newspaper or seen on our television screens more recently, the addition at the National Zoo of 2 new female bison. The CEO of the zoo happens to be related to one of our trustees, Dennis Kelly, who is the brother of Nancy Kelly Jones. And knowing that both Howard University and Gallaudet University have as their mascot the bison, we were invited by the zoo to have our student leaders propose possible names for these 2 new additions to the zoo. We had a student-led effort, led in fact by Andrew Morrill, the head of the SBG, to vet possible names, and the name suggested by all of the students was Wilma Nieuwhout Druken, in honor of her achievements and successes. Howard University similarly picked one of their alums, Zora, as the name for the other bison, one of the most successful writers to come out of Howard and civil rights activists. It was a wonderful celebration that we held. Our own Wilma, hailing from South Africa, was delighted and honored by the naming of this bison for her, and extends her thanks to the student leaders for choosing her as the name to be proposed. And now I would also like to formally introduce, though it's already been announced, the fact that we have a new provost, Dr. Carol J. Erding. Carol? A round of applause. Thank you. She is certainly a person who needs no introduction. She has worked here for many years, some 40 years in a number of different posts, served also as the Associate Provost for the Graduate School in Research, and has already had a resounding impact by hitting the ground running, tackling a number of difficult issues, wonderful opportunities, and we are delighted to have you on board. Secondly, we have a new Vice President for Development and Alumni Affairs. Many of you may know that the previous Vice President left to take on the presidency at Baker University in Kansas. And it is my pleasure to officially announce to you the new Vice President, Mr. Paul Julien. Paul? Paul hails from Clarkson University, far in upstate New York. Lake Potom, New York, where he was the Officer of Development there for many years, and we are delighted now to have him on board. He's already begun learning his sign language classes and interacting with many members of the campus. We want to extend a warm welcome to you. And the third to join us is one that you are all familiar with. As Carol moved up in her position, she left a vacancy, the Dean of the Graduate School and Continuing Studies. And we're pleased to announce that Dr. Gaurav Mathur has been selected by Dr. Erding. Dr. Gaurav Mathur will act as interim Dean of the Graduate School and Continuing Studies. Welcome, Gaurav. I am also very pleased to announce that perhaps for the first time in history, or at least during my tenure here, we have a number of governance leaders who will be sharing their remarks just after my presentation. I'm pleased to tell all of you that we have with us today Dr. Kubi Rashid, Chair of the Faculty Senate. Kubi, where are you? Ah, here you are. Would you stand and be recognized? She's just finished a class just moments before this and rushed over to join us. Thank you, Kubi. We also have with us Dr. Kojo Amisa, Chair of the Gallaudet Staff Council, the GSC. Kojo, stand and be recognized. Thank you. We also have with us the President of the Student Body Government, Mr. Andrew Morrill. Would you stand? Thank you. And finally, an important member of the community leaders was unable to be with us today, Mr. Brian Tingley, a graduate student, president of the Graduate Student Association, who is unable to be with us today because of his obligations to his internship off campus. But his thoughts are with us today. And now, as we speak about the 4 community leaders who have come together with us, working in tandem with the faculty, staff, and students, we wish to speak to the notion of all of our efforts being an effort that we engage in collectively. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress, and working together is success, as stated by Henry Ford. I thank all of you for working together with us for our future success. Speaking of the notion of we and all of us working together, I'd like to reflect on the successes of the past summer. We celebrated our 150th anniversary, bringing together over 1,300 alums from all across the United States and, in fact, the world. This event would not have been possible without the collective work of so many people on campus. We had more than 100 volunteers bringing this to pass. This truly speaks to the notion of we are working together. We came together this summer to celebrate Gallaudet University and look at its legacy. The legacy that Gallaudet has is one that brings to mind many, many success stories. Everyone who came to the union, we're talking about the experience here at the reunion. I recently went to Minnesota, and afterwards, talking with a number of people, saw how regretful they were that they weren't able to join us. But truly, hats off to all the people who made this event possible. It was immensely successful, and I give you my sincere thanks. Now I'd like to turn our attention to the next topic, beginning with a quote from Mother Teresa, who also is speaking to the notion of we working together can accomplish great things. Mother Teresa says, I can do things that you cannot. You can do things I cannot. This is true of all of us. We must collectively bring our expertise together and leverage the knowledge and expertise that we each bring, the experience that we together can bring, can help us as an institution go far. Together we can do great things, as Mother Teresa said. Again, following the theme of we together can achieve, that brings us to enrollment. And you see on the screen the Bison mascot who's joined us today, proudly wearing the new shirts from the I'm In campaign. As we speak to enrollment, we must recognize that this is a responsibility that each and every one of us shares. This is not the duty only of the admissions office. This falls to each of us to share this responsibility. Students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends. Last spring, in my State of the University address, I spoke at length about the importance of working together and that enrollment was the responsibility of each of us. This is an area we will continue to have a sharp focus on. And if I may, I'd like to take a moment to expand on that and to talk a bit more about enrollment and recruitment. We must remind ourselves that in our Gallaudet strategic plan, we have guiding principles, one of which you see before you on the screen. Gallaudet is committed to the development and success of the whole student. We, each of us, upperclassmen, students, staff, all of us are responsible for ushering in these new students to our campus. There are many examples of what we can do. If you're an upperclassman and you see a student wandering, perhaps lost, approach that student. Become friends with them. Get to know them better. Staff members. If you have a coworker who is a student worker, become a mentor to that student. Support them in their journey. Be a good role model for our students. Faculty, in your classroom, if you see that some students are struggling, not doing as well as they could, find time to meet with them. Or if any of you are going about your day here on campus and somebody asks for directions, don't merely point them in the right direction. That leaves them nearly as lost as they were before you came by. Stop what you're doing and guide them, escort them where they're looking, to the place they're looking for. Bring them directly to that office. Introduce them to the person there. Take that extra step. Get to know the students better. And the students will, in turn, get to know you better. That is just a few of the examples of the ways that we can encourage these new students, whether they be new incoming freshmen, special students, or transfers. We must think about how we can continue to send out the message that we are in this together. Together, we begin to think about how students and people on this campus are, as a community, must exhibit and show a zero tolerance policy. If we see somebody in trouble, we should step in and talk with them, see how we can support them. More recently, we've seen a lot of media coverage about misconduct on college campuses throughout the country. Sexual misconduct, and social media has spoken to this. Gallaudet is certainly no exception to this nationwide problem. What we can and must do is work together to be there for our students, to be a support for those diverse students who come from all walks of life to our campus. Students come with different communication backgrounds, different educational experiences, and in fact, different cultures. Students come from all over the world to take advantage of the opportunities present here at Gallaudet, and we must all support each other in that, both collectively and as individuals. Each one of us plays a role in making sure that this campus is a safe place for all students, and in fact for everyone on the campus. Now, we need to think about our strategic plan. We are all very aware that students' needs and demands are growing and continue to grow. But resources are shrinking, increasing the challenges that we have. The strategic plan allows us to more tightly focus on different areas of need and to manage the resources we have more effectively and with greater expertise. There are always many challenges for all of us. I'm often approached by people seeking assistance and finding different ways to meet the needs of our students. This is always a challenge. It is also equally important to always bear in mind that the GSP is not a static document, frozen to be disregarded given passing time. It is, in fact, a living document that we must continually peruse to see which of those benchmarks have already been achieved so that we can switch our focus to other areas. The document was crafted several years ago, and some pieces may not be as relevant today. It is a document that must continually be upgraded, updated, and improved. It is a living document that belongs to all of us here on campus. And while we're talking about the future of Gallaudet, we must also be aware that the Board of Trustees has already clearly stated that there will be a nationwide search for the next president. It is important for both the community and the next president to be able to take the GSP to the next level as we move forward to our future. As we speak to this future, I must also share some exciting things that are happening, beginning with the 6th Street development. The Gallaudet of the future is challenged by our strategic plan to become more innovative and to find ways to increase revenue streams to the university that will further support the continuance of Gallaudet University and its mission. The 6th Street development is just one of those potentials. And this is not merely about the financial possibilities, but about ways to innovate for our future. You, the class of 2018, and those that follow you, will have a new college town, if you will, surrounding the campus where Gallaudet students, faculty, and staff are interacting in new ways with the surrounding community. It's quite exciting that we now have the opportunity to exhibit for the world what universal design is all about. It's about the buildings, stores, restaurants, residences, all being accessible to everyone. We have seen that what is good for deaf people is good for everyone. This development presents an opportunity to create a new place full of innovation which incorporates this universal design, which will certainly draw the gaze of leaders around the world. Diversity is another critical area of focus for our Gallaudet strategic plan, and I am pleased to announce to you that just 2 weeks from now, from September 16th through 19th, we will have a variety of workshops and events, plenary sessions, panel discussions, discussion groups, and so forth. Different work groups will be coming together to focus on multicultural transformation and how we can integrate that into the campus curriculum so that our students, both present and future, will benefit from that multicultural transformation. This is an exciting time for all of us here, and I wish to thank the Provost for taking the lead on this area, as we will see a number of events to follow in the near future. Some of that week's events, September 16th through 19th, you will see a number of events on the calendar. Different discussions about where we will be going with our new CDO, Chief Diversity Officer. We at present have no concrete notions of what that position should entail. We're open to the feedback of our community, to bring your ideas to the table, to create a profile of what the CDO should ideally be, to figure out what structure would best suit the CDO in order to interact with the community. It's very difficult to have one person hold a role with so much at stake, and they need the authority, the proper authority, as well as the cooperation of the entire campus community to create success from this opportunity. Now, having already spoken to this theme of we once and over again, I would like, along that theme, to invite my friend and colleague Dr. Kubi Rashid to share a few remarks with you on behalf of the Faculty Senate. Kubi, I welcome you to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Boy, these lights are awfully bright as I stand here on the stage. I'm originally from Africa. And that being the case, I'd like to share with you a quote. The quote is, "It takes a village." And that quote is directly tied into educational preparation. It does indeed take a village to educate an individual. And I'm sure you've probably already heard another statement quite often, and that's that one of, well, that's Gallaudet, right? I would like to suggest this afternoon that we combine those two sayings. It takes a village, and that's Gallaudet, and bring them together to rise this new notion. It takes a Gallaudet village. When we think about educating deaf individuals, it does take the Gallaudet village to be successful. It takes the Gallaudet village to show people in the world what we as deaf, hard of hearing, and hearing people can do when we work together. And not just that, it takes the Gallaudet village to show the potential that each and every one have within ourselves to the outside world. So it does take a Gallaudet village. You know, we'd recently celebrated our 150th anniversary, as Dr. Hurwitz has just shared with you. And we came together to make that a success, and we must continue to come together to carry this university into the next 150 years. Over the summer, the faculty has been diligently working, getting ourselves ready for the students to return, and I have to admit, it's always wonderful for me to see the students back on campus and our interactions that we have with them. The faculty are ready to work with the students, with the administration, with the staff, all towards that goal of educationally preparing our students, providing them with the services they need so that they can serve our country upon graduation. As faculty, our doors are always open. We'd be happy to engage in conversations with you. Thank you all, and welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kubi, for those wonderful remarks. We must always remember that it takes a village, and we must all come together. Now it's my pleasure to invite to the stage Dr. Kojo Amisa, Chair of the Gallaudet Staff Council. Welcome, Kojo.
Good afternoon. Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to piggyback on something that Dr. Rashid has just mentioned in her remarks, and that's the Gallaudet village. I'm from Ghana in West Africa, so I'm very well aware of that experience of living within a village. This year, the GSC has 3 goals that really support this idea of the Gallaudet village, and I'd like to share those goals with you today. As staff, we are ready to stand by and support the university in its mission and vision, along with the strategic plan, as it guides us into the future. Next, we are here to promote this notion of shared governance, as was also mentioned by Dr. Hurwitz in his remarks. And thirdly, we would like to see the staff involved in more professional interactions so that we all can come together and form this village so that we can take our role within the village environment. And with that, I'd like to welcome you all back to the 2014-2015 school year.
Thank you, Kojo, for those on-point remarks. It's now my pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Andrew Morrill, President of the Student Body Government.
I think I'll stand here instead of behind the podium. Wow, this is great. It's wonderful to see so many people, and maybe I better make sure I'm standing in a light source so everyone can see what I'm saying. I'm Andrew Morrill, President of Student Body Government. You know, I just think it's wonderful to see all the new students coming through new student orientation, to really see the energy and enthusiasm and how everyone came together, supporting the class of 2018. I also see a number of student organizations, the Deaf Latino student groups, Black Deaf Students Organizations, peer mentor organizations, the people working for academic affairs and academic support. All of these individuals are coming together with lots of energy to really transform this campus. As I think about this year, I think this is the year of what I'm saying, the year of you, meaning each one of you, every single one of you can come together and work together to support the students. Faculty, administration, and staff all can support student body government. You can do that by listening to us, hearing our concerns, listening to us when we share issues, and being a part of what we're doing. Gallaudet wouldn't be what it is without the students. I'm sure we can all agree with that. So this year, SBG wants to be more student-centered. We want to be able to really be here for the students. And with that, I'd like to welcome you back to the Gallaudet school year and wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for those wonderful remarks. I enjoyed that. And as I'd mentioned earlier, the fourth member of the community leaders group that was unable to be with us was Brian Tingley. And I'm sure, though, that he and I would all agree with the remarks shared by Kojo, Kubi, and Andrew. And in closing, I'd like to refer back to the African proverb that Kubi shared with us, and also share another proverb that speaks to our future. And this is an important message for all of us to bear in mind, that we must work together. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Working together, we can achieve so much more. With that, I will close this this time together and speak to the spirit of the university, the spirit of collaboration that we share, that will bring us together and lead us into the future as we work together. With that, I want to thank you all for coming, and please remember to pick up one of your box lunches just outside.